Hello everyone, welcome to the Liverpool News Update. I'm Chris Pajek. That there is right, Chloe Bloxham. That doesn't make sense, but let's go with it anyway. Let's pretend it never happened. And we're here to talk about Liverpool news and transfer rumours, but mainly transfer rumours, because what else are we going to talk about if not transfer rumours? We've got a little bit about Hendo and Trent and Jude Bellingham from Connor Cody. We've got a little bit about PSR. We've got a little bit about Darwin Nunez, Calori, Nico Williams and Bento. But we'll start with something that I've not mentioned, and that is none other than Stefan Betic, who isn't going to be going to the Olympics, Chloe Bloxham. It looks like he's going to get a full pre-season under his belt, the first pre-season of the Arne Slot era. And after missing out on so much football, this feels like a real positive for me right now. Is it the same for you?
Yeah, it is, especially when, you know, we're all predicting that we're going to be playing the 4-2-3-1 and no one really feels like we've got that proper number 6. We have got Endo, obviously, but I think in people's teams, in their best starting 11 or if in their first starting 11, I don't think a lot of them would have Wataru Endo, or they'd want to upgrade on it. And if you've already got that player in Stefan Betic, you can save loads of money. It's important that he has a pre-season because he missed a lot of time out last season through injury, which obviously, you know, I think he played in a Europa League game, but aside from that, he played a couple of games at the end of the season and you could tell that he was rusty. You could tell he'd not kicked the ball about in quite a while. So it's vitally important that he gets a really good pre-season just to get back into it, and also to hopefully understand exactly what Slot wants from him. So let's see what happens in pre-season. I'm excited to see him back.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, as you mentioned, not a lot of minutes for him, just the 72 over the course of last season after his return from injury. Now, you know, we obviously the season before he was absolutely exceptional. You know, is he a genuine number 6? Probably not. Maybe he's a little bit more like a number 8, but is he one of those 8s that's going to get you goals? I'm not 100% sure. It does feel to me anyway, Chloe, like he could be a perfect sort of foil in the double pivot. You know, he's got the ability to strike forwards if necessary. He's got that defensive awareness. Obviously, let's not forget he's played centre half in his young career as well, while he was in the unders and stuff. So he's got that sort of safety net about him as well. But there's a lot that he could bring to the table, and just 19 years old, I think Arne Slot is probably going to want to run the rule over him, and that's massively important for him, isn't it? And being there on day one of pre-season, because if Arne Slot is thinking about midfield reinforcements, probably doesn't know too much about Stefan Betic, probably knows a lot more than he did before he agreed to be Liverpool's head coach moving forwards. But now he gets to see him and gets to see his improvement and development throughout pre-season as well.
Yeah, he does. And also, it's not just that. It's important for... Look, I don't think Stefan Betic will leave on loan at all this season. No. But, you know, it does give Slot a kind of chance to have a look at Betic and decide whether he thinks, OK, well, let's put him out on loan for the first half of the season till January, because he's only just coming back to football. You want him to get up to speed with it if he's not going to play week in, week out. But I genuinely think that he could become a part of that 6/8 role alongside Alexis McAllister. I remember the season that he was boss for us, it felt like he was the only person who could defend at all in our squad, and he was very much holding down the midfield on his own. Aside from that, I remember I think it was Aston Villa on Boxing Day, where he gets that lovely goal and you think, oh, he's got an attacking side to him. So yeah, I think he's a real nice balance between the both of them, and he's also young enough that you can learn and develop him to be more exactly into either a 6 or an 8. But he's got all of the qualities. He's boss, he's class, but it's just important that we make sure that he's physically ready to go, and that's why it's really good that he's got the entire pre-season, because that means that, you know, you can slowly build it up. You don't have to put too much pressure on him, and hopefully he's ready for day one of the season.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the other thing is as well, obviously, if Endo is rumoured wants to go to the Olympics, then he's not going to be there. Yeah. We know Szoboszlai's not going to be there from day one. We know Trent Alexander-Arnold's probably not going to be there from day one, and you could list a lot of midfielders. Obviously, McAllister involved in the Copa America and stuff like that. There are going to be a lot of opportunities for Betic to impress in pre-season, so he's going to know exactly, like I can put a marker down before anyone else gets an attempt under Arne Slot. I can show him that I can be a midfielder for Liverpool Football Club. So you imagine he's going to be bouncing into training like big Vince McMahon walking down to the WWE ring, isn't he? Showing the manager exactly what he wants.
Yeah, and also, look, he's he's got enough quality that he can be a part of this Liverpool midfield. So, you know, he is trying to get into the likes of the Sobbo, who we don't know where he plays. He might play alongside McAllister, and it might just be more attacking than we expect, or he might play as a number 10. You've still got Gravenberch there, who a load of people don't speak about.
He got his first minutes of the summer as well, just not in the actual Euros, just in the friendly for Holland.
Well, you know, yeah. I mean, he did all right before the Euros started as well for the Netherlands, but I think he's a top quality player. It's important that Slot sees Stefan's actual ability first of all, because that's how you're going to get a chance in this side. There is a lot of games to be played, but we have a lot of midfielders, and Stefan needs to make sure that he is one of them right up there. So, you know, Wataru Endo might start ahead of him at the start of the season, but when he's not available, it needs to be your shirt, and that's what Stefan needs to go and grab.
Absolutely. A little bit of a story that's sad, really, isn't it? Like Conor Cody was talking on 5 Live, I think it was, about how Trent Alexander-Arnold and Jordan Henderson tried to get Liverpool to sign Jude Bellingham, or Jude Bellingham to sign for Liverpool. What was interesting about this one, obviously you pulled this news story up, Chloe, is they basically, Conor Cody, in his words, man-marked Trent during the 2022 World Cup. Why I'm talking about it today is because I just think it's really good that Liverpool players are doing stuff like that. Obviously, you know, I'm from an age where Steven Gerrard used to have to go and speak to players instead of the manager, because our manager wasn't well known enough. But it's nice to see that, you know, the likes of Trent Alexander-Arnold, who's still at the football club, the captain at the time, and Jordan Henderson, were going out there trying to make things happen. It never worked out, but at least they're trying.
Yeah,
tried.
Well, yeah, it didn't work, as we all know. But you know, it's kind of, you've got to set those foundations. We've done it before. I think Dele Alli was a big one of them, where I think we just refused to go and meet him, and we didn't put the foundations there, and he didn't come to us, and he was really good. That flies doing your head in it.
It's doing my nuts. It's doing yours in as well. Just keep swooping in on us. I don't know whether you can actually see it. Like, it's proper irritating.
It's doing my head in. Yeah, Dele Alli, we missed out on Dele Alli. He went to Spurs because we didn't quite set the foundation. So it's good that we are doing this. I personally would feel a little bit too embarrassed to be basically man-marking another player to try and get him to come to Liverpool. I'd feel very silly now that he's also not come to Liverpool. However, you've got to do it, because, you know, if we were living in a world where Jude Bellingham was playing for Liverpool, we'd be thanking Jordan Henderson and Trent so much right now.
Absolutely. Yeah, now the scary thing is it happening the other way around with Trent Alexander-Arnold and Jude Bellingham, of course. We'll move on to the next story then. Sam Wallace for The Telegraph has talked about how Premier League warns clubs that so-called PSR swap deals will come under scrutiny in a letter to all 20 sent today. Transfers must meet at arm's length provision. It's not fair market value rules brought to bear. And what was interesting on this one is, you know, I'm going on the Echo. We haven't got the access to the Telegraph and stuff like that. But, you know, the Premier League has reminded Everton and Liverpool that they'll be punished for deceitful player trading just days after several clubs conducted a string of unusual deals. It almost feels, Chloe, like they could have done this before it happened.
Yeah.
Like talked about it, maybe, rather than waiting for it to happen and then looking to retrospectively punish teams. Talk to them about it before it happens. Classic Premier League.
Yeah, of course. Always one step too late. And
or 115 steps too late.
One of the two. But yeah, it's just classic Premier League. You can just, like, this is why I just don't trust them to have anything positive to come out of the 115 charges, because there's just loopholes that they just decide to ignore. Someone exploits, and then 3 weeks later they decide, oh, actually, lads, you just can't do that. I actually saw Baz's reply to that. I think it's on the tweet if you go down on the Sam Wallace, I don't know who it was, Sam Wallace it was, and this is the exact point, right? Yeah, I understand where he's coming from here. If you want to read that out, because I can't.
Yeah, Sam, can you ask them how they let clubs sell players to Saudi last summer for ridiculously overpriced deals to help PSR? Thanks. Oh, and how come clubs sell hotels to themselves? Cheers, hon. That's Baz from Toffee TV. I completely agree. Now, unfortunately, Liverpool weren't one of the clubs, the only club basically that didn't sell them for ridiculously overpriced deals to help with PSR. Annoyingly, almost. He's absolutely spot on there, isn't he? I mean, I think Chase Hunt's a bit.
I think it's cute. I like it.
No, you just come across like a tit.
I don't mind it.
You come across like a tit. The journalist's going to look at that and go, well, you're a tit. because you're trying to make me look like a tit. It is literally not his fault that that's what the Premier League clubs have done. He is reporting on what the Premier League clubs have done, and Baz has come after him and basically made himself look like a tit in my eyes.
I think Baz makes a good point, though.
I really do. I agree with the point.
The
Didn't read the chase on the end.
Last season, that was a massive thing. I think Chelsea, how many did they sell? That was really ridiculously priced. You can't look at Liverpool. We got absolutely nothing for Fabinho, who, I mean, I really would have expected more from. And obviously Jordan Henderson, our captain, didn't go for a lot either. Yet they were both in their 30s, but there were other players in their 30s who were going to Saudi for a lot more money. And also this hotel, just selling a hotel to help yourself out, like that's just a bit mad, isn't it?
It's ridiculous.
So there are so many major problems here with PSR and little loopholes that they just haven't addressed. So I can understand the fury that the likes of Baz and Toffee TV Everton fans will feel, because this is now another loophole, and yet everyone else got away with selling players for overpriced to Saudi last season. So I get it, but it is all just a mess. Nothing's going to resolve this, sadly. There'll just be something else put in place that has another loophole that someone will exploit, and it'll just go in loops, sadly.
Yes, absolutely. T. Arthurs has said, great show as always, keep up the great work, thank you very much. And Liam Bento being monitored, and it ain't for me, for shame. Yeah, absolutely, we'll talk about that later, Liam Bento. Next story, of course, is Darwin Nunez, who has broken records over for Uruguay. He makes history and equals the great Hector Scaroni in scoring in 7 consecutive games with the Uruguay national team. He did it in Hector Scaroni. He did it in 1927 to 28. 7 games on the bounce. It's almost like he's got a manager there that knows how to get the best out of him, doesn't it, Bielsa?
It's mad, isn't it? Because there was a time when people were talking about Bielsa as a really good manager, and look, he did all right for Leeds. He did. I think everyone was too worried about how attacking he was, that defensively he didn't have problems. But it's it kind of goes well that a really attacking manager somehow gets the best out of an attacking player. But he's doing brilliantly for Uruguay. Only if he could bring a bit of that confidence and that freedom back to Liverpool, that would be brilliant. He's had a decent season, has Darwin Nunez, for us, but it's really good that in the Copa America, he's backing himself, he's getting the goals, and hopefully he can bring that form into pre-season and then into our season. Absolutely.
If you want to see the goal, I can show you less than 7 seconds of it, so I've already teed up the video right here. You can see Darwin Nunez in that number 9 position, the ball played from the left-hand side here. Cracking little run, cracking little ball, first time shot, and ball goes into the back of the net, which I thought was absolutely lovely from Darwin Nunez. And yeah, just really sort of didn't think about it, made a perfect run, was hit in time and stuff like that. And that's the thing I think that Liverpool really haven't got to grips with Darwin Nunez over the course of his tenure here, isn't it? Is that he makes those runs so early, Chloe, and yet the ball seems to be late, and when he's offside and stuff like that. Now, he wasn't in danger there of being offside or anything, was he? It was
he started his run from deep. That's the difference. When he starts his run sometimes at Liverpool and he's
already on the shoulder, isn't he?
He's already on the shoulder, which means he's already offside by the time the ball gets to him. There, he started his run a little bit deeper. He went in between the 2 centre halves, and it's a decent finish. You'd expect a goal scorer to score that, you just would. But it's good that he is doing that. And it's also a bit mad that, for Uruguay, they're obviously less attacking than the likes of Liverpool. They create less chances. They're just not as good a side. They've got some really good players, some star quality, Valverde being one of them. But yeah, when it comes to Liverpool, it feels like he does miss a load more chances. I think he has missed a couple of chances in the Copa America already. One of his goals, he tried really hard to try and miss the target with from a yard out. But I'm just really glad for him that he's getting goals, he's getting more confidence, he's being the main man, because Luis Suarez is still there, by the way, but he's being the main man for Uruguay, and hopefully he can be the main man for Liverpool next season, because Salah has always been that, but who knows how many games he will play this season, in terms of just last season was his first real massive injury, and I don't think he can play week in, week out.
Absolutely. Youssef in the comments says, we're not signing anyone. I've come to terms with it. Youssef, you are wrong. Liverpool aren't even back in pre-season training until Monday, right? We've got a new manager in Arne Slot, as you know. We've got Michael Edwards and Richard Hughes. Richard Hughes obviously leading. Michael Edwards working above Liverpool Football Club, who've just come back into the jobs, or in the user's case, come into the job from the 1st of June. So they'll be running the rule over the data department. The data department will be having players already lined up, but probably players for Jurgen's system and Jurgen's squad. Now that thing might have changed, obviously, as soon as we found out we were going to be getting on a slot, and obviously that was a little while ago now. These things take time, mate. I really wouldn't be worrying just yet about Liverpool not making signings. The problem I think we've all got at the moment, Chloe, is that there are just so many bullshit rumours out there, and we try and go through them. And we have
to cover them all, because that's part of our job.
We want to. We want to cover the rumours, but we'll always tell you whether we think it's going to happen, and there's nothing here yet so far over the last month that we've really thought we're going to get our teeth into, and we're going to see Liverpool sign a player other than the 16-year-old from Wolves. But don't be disheartened. This stuff will take time, and once Arne Slot has had a look at his squad properly and has taken that little bit of time, then do expect Liverpool to make signings, because there are going to be players going out, and we think we know that as well. In fact, we've already had Matip and Thiago leave, true, and just Adrian potentially still leaving. It looks like the contract's been offered. It's still not been accepted, obviously, from Real Betis yet. So we are going to sign players. It might not be a 100 million, 150 million pound player that some people would want. Everybody probably would want, but we are going to sign players, so don't be too disheartened.
Also, if you just take yourselves back 12 months, it felt like we were all done, really, in the transfer markets, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, we just slapped a 70 mil bid on Sobbo when it seemed like he was destined for Newcastle. So things can just happen out of the blue. The problem that you've got is, sadly, the Euros and Copa America. None of those players are going to be focused on trying to move clubs right now, who are still in there. Yep. And also, as a football fan, I'd hate for Liverpool to put a bid and buy someone and then them get a really bad injury and not be available for the start of the season, and you've just got to deal with that. So there's a lot of hesitancy and just waiting on what happens in those competitions. Absolutely.
And Jetta NZ has said we should all be super excited about the new season. I know I am. New signings, new coach, new formation. And the funny thing is, the latter part of that sort of comment is the thing that gets my juices flowing. It's the new coach, the new formation, the new tactics, how Liverpool are going to play football, because we've become so set in our ways of knowing exactly how Liverpool are going to try and attack teams and defend teams over the last 9 years under Jurgen, and the ride was absolutely incredible, and I'll never forget it. And I'll talk about that side with Gini Wijnaldum and Jordan Henderson, Roberto Firmino and Fabinho and Salah and Mane and Van Dijk and Matip and Trent Alexander-Arnold and Robertson and Alisson until I'm blue in the face. And I'm going to bore the shit out of my grandchildren, if I get any, of stories of following Liverpool around Europe and the competitions that we've won and the songs that we've sung and that team. And, you know, like my dad bored the shit out of me with the late 70s and the 80s team, and still does to this day, because we got to witness something special. But there's an opportunity we're going to see something special over the course of the next few years as well. And it all starts now. So waiting and seeing what he does is, for me, the most exciting thing going forward.
We've also got a boss squad. Like, we do. Like, yeah, we need a couple of additions here and there, but the foundation of that squad, you've still got unbelievable world-class footballers in there. You've got players who have the potential to be world-class, and players who, you know, the young lads, Conor Bradley, Stefan Betic, these lads who are coming through, Harvey Elliott, who I cannot wait to see what they're like in 3-4 years' time. So there's a lot for him to work with already.
Absolutely. T. Arthur's sent us a super chat. Thank you so much. If you both became Liverpool manager and had to sell players to get new players, who would you sell and who would you buy and why? That's a really good question, actually. Chloe, do you want to go first on that one?
No,
I'll bring it back
happy
up.
With my answer.
Who would you sell and who would you buy? I think for me, one of the first things that I'd be looking at is how much money I could get for the backup goalkeeper. Obviously, it looks right now like we're going to be moving him on anyway because he wants to move on. So if I can get 30 to 40 million pounds for somebody, from somebody for Caoimhin Kelleher, I'd probably be looking at doing that. It does disappoint me a little bit, but by the rules of the game, as T. Arthur said, you have to sell to buy. In this one, Caoimhin Kelleher would be one of those players. Kostas Tsimikas, maybe, 10 to 15 million there, something like that. So let's say, conservatively, that's 45 million quid. Yeah. I would, and this is where you'll hate me now, but if I've got to sell to buy...
Salah. I would sell Salah.
I wasn't going to say Salah.
I'm going to say Salah.
You're going to say Salah, okay.
He's going to get me the most money here.
How much are you getting for him right now? 100?
Is he still... Wait there, are we basing this... Sorry, I've got to ask you. You've asked me the question. Salah's still only got 1 year left. His contract expires in 12 months' time. If so, he's getting out the door.
Okay,
so
and what's you making for him?
100 mil minimum.
Okay, so you got 145 so
I've got
far.
145
Anyone else you want to
mil.
sell?
No.
Okay, you got 145 million pounds. You need a right winger.
Yeah, I need a right winger.
You need a backup goalkeeper.
I'm going to bring in Nico Williams.
Okay, so 50 odd.
58 million euros, weren't it? So whatever that is in sterling. I'm going to bring in Calafiori.
It's 0.85 exchange rate, or it was yesterday anyway.
Over my head. Calafiori for me, left back, left centre half situation, covered two. And then I'm just going to go and get a cheap goalkeeper with a little bit of experience.
Okay.
Which means I probably have some left.
Yeah, you haven't spent your 445. You've got let's say you've got 45 million pounds left.
I've got 45 million left. I'd like a DM, but I don't think there's a good enough DM.
Well, 45 million quid, there's a good enough DM that's better than Endo, right?
Yeah.
You're going to throw it all on a big bid for 29-year-old from Bayern Munich, maybe?
No, I don't want Kimmich.
Okay.
He's 29.
Yeah, okay.
I'm stuck on my DM. What would you do? Who were you selling instead of Salah?
Canate.
Oh, wow, okay.
Big money, you're getting in. How much would you get for Canate, do you reckon? 70?
No.
60?
No. I think you're looking at 55. I genuinely don't know. His injury record is the thing. If I was any other club, I'd be sat there thinking he plays 13 games a season. He doesn't. That's an exaggeration. But he definitely.
Let me know in the comments how much you reckon we'd get for. Oh God! Rather than hitting these comments instead, how much we get for Ibu Canate? Because I think Chloe's a little bit low there. To be honest, Aaron, what would you say we could get for 60? Okay, 60. Okay.
That's not far off. I said 55.
Okay, but it's Kitty. I'm going to kitty here, like 5 million's going to help me.
There we go.
Knocky Knox is 60 million quid as well. Okay.
Sell Allison and keep Kelleher. Jesus Christ. Saudi though. Saudi money. I get what you're thinking.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. 65 says Panver. I prefer Panver's, to be honest with you. So we've got a 65 million. Any higher on 65 million? You really help me out here.
Everyone's
really
telling us
out.
to sell Diaz.
Yeah. Well.
Okay. Well, Salah signs a new contract. Diaz can go for me then.
Okay.
And the only reason I'd sell Salah is because in my head he's only got a year left, and I'm getting nothing at the end of that year.
Ross said 70 million for Canate. We're going to take Ross for 70 million quid for Canate.
That's not correct though, is it?
All right, I'll say 60 then.
Okay,
we've had
that's
60 million quid, so I've got around 105 million quid, and I've got a centre back and a backup goalkeeper.
Yeah.
And a left back. Well, I'll sign Calafiori.
Yeah, it covers both.
Covers both of them.
Joe Gomez is also in there for me.
90 for Canate, said Ross. Let's take 90. No, okay, so I'm taking Calafiori.
Yeah.
I need a backup goalkeeper.
I don't know who to pick for me backup goalkeeper.
Well, we can talk about Bento.
Yeah, we'll just go with
take Bento. How much was Bento? Do you remember?
15.
15,
maybe.
right? Okay, so I've got 75 spent. That about right? No, 65, 60 odd. 50 million for Calafiori.
Yeah.
65 million I've spent. So I've still got around 35 million.
That was also 40 to 50 million
with.
euros, so it's not sterling here. You know what I mean?
Nice. Okay, so I've still got about 40 million quid left. How much can we get Coop Miners for?
30 mil maybe?
Oh, I'll take a little bit of Coop Miners as well.
I've got no idea.
Not?
I've just lobbed a number out there.
I'll take that. How much is Kvaratskhelia?
He'll be about 85, I'd imagine, at least.
All right, okay. So then
probably more closer to 100.
Okay, then I'll sell Louis Diaz for 70 to somebody.
Yeah, Barca,
and then
please.
I've got enough there to buy myself a Kvaratskhelia,
okay.
which then covers the future of the right-hand side as well. If you can keep up with that, that's fantastic. That was a good little game, actually. Quite like that. Thank you very much for the super chat as well, asking us. Okay, so yeah, I've got Coop Miners, I've got Kvaratskhelia, I've got Calafiori, and I've got Bento. That's pretty good for selling a...
I had Calafiori, Nico Williams. I'd binned off Diaz instead of Salah now because I've just gave him an extension on his contract in my mind. I brought it... Whoever mentioned?
A backup goalie, Bento.
Bento.
Yeah.
I don't think I've used my full budget.
No. Feel free.
Is there another player that Valverde is just far too much, but I would love Valverde.
Okay, you might have to sell Nunez and Jota
everyone else
to be able to afford him.
I don't have enough for Kvaratskhelia, do I?
No. You spunked your budget on Nico Williams.
I'm still having Nico Williams, yeah.
Yeah, it's fair.
It's fine. I'll just save that money for when a DM comes available next season.
Okay, and then you'll be Chloe outed all over Twitter.
Yeah.
Chloe out, you didn't spend all the money. Chloe out, Chloe out, Chloe out.
I also binned off Salah 5 minutes ago. He's back, don't worry, guys.
Don't worry about it. I tried to sell you, no takers, so I offered you a new contract on improved terms.
Yeah.
Classic football manager syndrome, then, isn't it? Like,
I've 10k more there a week, lad.
Right, we'll move on then. Sources in England and Italy claim Liverpool interest in centre-back. It is Calori. We've spoken about it quite a lot over the last sort of week or so. It does look like, again, and we've prefaced this chat every single time, that he is going to go to Juventus, but there are a few more teams that have been named as interested. So Ben Jacob added now that Juventus, Tottenham, Newcastle, Brighton, West Ham interest in Calafiori, as well as Real Madrid and Arsenal. Now it looks like Real Madrid have agreed terms with Lenny Yoro and just got to thrash out a deal with Lille for him if Lille is the right club. So I would be surprised if they went for Yoro and Calafiori in the same
Real
time.
Madrid, though, innit?
Arsenal seem to be stocked at centre half at the moment, having pretty much the best defence in the league, and some absolutely top draw centre half. So I'd be surprised if we haven't even spoken about that.
Timber, who literally is now back.
Of course, yeah. Missed most of last season, didn't he, during Timber? Liverpool's still interested apparently, but again, very much in second, third, fourth, fifth, or sixth place at the moment, I suppose.
That price tag seems ridiculous.
£33.9 million pound.
It just seems like something that you should go and do instantly.
But listen, it does say here, it's suggested by the latter that Liverpool are preparing a substantial offer for the defender, though claims of a £33.9 million price tag seem lost in translation. Okay, I'm not sure how that would happen, but anyway, let's move on from the Calafiori news. We do have more news on the Nico Williams. I'll just highlight it so it's easy for everybody to see. They're also interested in adding a wide attacker. This is talking about Liverpool. This is James Pearce and somebody else as well. And to increase their options in that department. But Atletico Bilbao's Nico Williams is not under consideration. So although he's just signed for you in...
Yeah. So is Calafiori as well, by the way.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Doesn't look like
just
Nico
need to be
Williams.
managed clearly.
This is a couple of days ago, isn't it, that this story actually broke, Chloe, that we're not in for Nico Williams. And again, from the very start, we've all talked about how much money he's on being a deciding factor in this deal.
Yeah, it very much is that, because the release clause doesn't seem like a problem at all. But the problem is that he's 19 and he's on 200k a week, reportedly. And Liverpool cannot break their wage structure.
Is he 19? I thought he was 21. Is he 19? Yeah. I thought he was 21.
Maybe
anyway,
I'm thinking of Lamine Yamal. He might be 21. I'm thinking of Lamine Yamal, maybe, who I would also love to buy.
He's 21, about to turn 22 as well, Nico.
So yeah, he's a player that I would love Liverpool to sign, but they can't break a wage structure. He will not accept anything less than 200k, because that's what he's been on at Atletico Bilbao. So it seems like a thing that Liverpool will not be interested in doing. But I would adore for him to play for us. I just think he's top quality. Yeah.
And a guy that Liverpool look like they're interested in, could be the last piece of the pie, if you pardon the Frey Bento pun, is goalkeeper Bento. You know I love a dad joke. He is currently playing his trade over in Brazil. This could be an interesting move. It's looking like a €15 million bid from Inter Milan has gone in to Atletico. Now, what's their name? Pana something or other, Panamese or something mental like that, isn't it? Let's have a little look at him here. Yeah, Atletico Paranaense, currently playing in Brazil. He's actually backing up Alisson in the Brazil squad in the Copa America, isn't it? And obviously, with the goalkeeping coach, Taffarel being Brazilian and Alisson being Brazilian, I can actually imagine that this one could happen, Chloe, if Kelleher's to move on. Yeah,
and also if you're getting, I think it was reported 35 million for Kelleher, bringing in 15 mil as a backup goalkeeper, and this lad, it seems absolutely like it'd work. I think think also in that same report, I think Alisson Becker was also speaking about him and just, you know, how good he is, and how he wouldn't mind some competition. He still feels like he's at his best, and rightfully so, Alisson, because you are the best in the world. But yeah, this is a deal that I could see happening due to the Brazilian links that we've got, especially with our goalkeeper staff, but also the price tag just seems really reasonable.
Absolutely. So Alisson said he would welcome the competition provided by Bento in the Brazil ranks, declaring, "I am still one of the younger ones. I am at my peak. Brazil has many strong goalkeepers, both locally and internationally. It keeps us sharp and prevents complacency." Under contract until 2026. But again, kind of makes sense whether Liverpool do anything with this regard. I mean, going from a first choice goalkeeper to a backup goalkeeper in Europe, a first choice goalkeeper in Brazil to a backup goalkeeper in Europe, maybe with someone that you know, a friend of yours, and obviously Tafarel being a Brazilian great as well, I suppose. It does make sense. So yeah, we'll have to just sort of wait and see on that one, really.
And it's not like he won't get any games. You know, you can imagine him. I mean, we don't know. Well, Slot might just play Alisson every single competition.
He won't have a choice, I'm not sure.
But, you know, he might get FA Cup or whatever like that. He won't be getting Champions League. We're not in the Europa League this season, thankfully. But yeah, I don't see why that couldn't happen. And also, if we did sign Bento, then Adrian left, I would be more than happy to just give Peter Luger or Jaros the step up to be third choice goalkeeper, and hope we don't have to rely on them.
The only thing with this one that doesn't make sense to me actually is using essentially another spot up on a goalkeeper that's not from, you know, the UK or classed as a homegrown. Obviously he's Brazilian, he's lived and worked in Brazil his entire life. There's no links to England, there's no trained in an academy in England. It seems a strange spot to tie yourself in, doesn't it, I suppose? Yeah,
it does, because, you know, you can promote any of the youngsters who can be classed as homegrown.
And I'm sure Jaros will be promoted to a third choice.
But also, I think there was links with, you know, a couple of English goalkeepers so far this summer. We haven't bought any of them, clearly. But it would seem like a waste, especially when Kelleher is one of those players who's taken up that spot. I'd be sad to see Kelleher go, but I understand that. He wants to play football.
Yeah, and I'm sure there will be, as there was in the comments, some people saying if you play in the director of football game, sell Alisson and keep Kelleher. Kelleher was absolutely superb when he came in last season, wasn't he? But he's just not at Alisson's level. So again, massive risk.
Someone mentioned Xavi Simons. I'll have him as my other player. Thank you.
Like that.
Thanks.
He's a great player, isn't he? Absolutely great player. Okay, there we go. That has been our Liverpool news and rumours update for Friday the 28th of June. Thank you so much to Chloe. Thank you for you guys for watching, for supporting, for liking, and for commenting. And thank you to Aaron, who's produced the show today. We'll see you next time. Ta-ra.